steadfast in thy word.
The Lord be with you. Today in our 3:16 study, we're moving on to the book of Joshua. It's another dry land crossing, and I've put a number of things on our whiteboard. The 3:16 in itself is pretty interesting, but there is a lot going on in this book. So, let me read all of chapter 3 for us. Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Shittim, and they came to the Jordan, he and all the people of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. At the end of 3 days, the officers went through the camp and commanded the people, "As soon as you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God being carried by the Levitical priests, then you shall set out from your place and follow it. Yet there shall be a distance between you and it, about 2,000 cubits in length. Do not come near it, in order that you may know the way you shall go, for you have not passed this way before." Then Joshua said to the people, "Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you." And Joshua said to the priests, "Take up the ark of the covenant and pass on before the people." So they took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. The Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. And as for you, command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, when you come to the bank of the waters of the Jordan, you shall stand still in the Jordan." And Joshua said to the people of Israel, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God." And Joshua said, "Here is how you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will, without fail, drive out from before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth is passing over before you into the Jordan. Now therefore take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, from each tribe a man. And when the soles of the feet of the priests bearing the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from flowing, and the waters coming down from above shall stand in one heap." So when the people set out from their tents to pass over the Jordan, with the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as soon as those bearing the ark had come as far as the Jordan, and the feet of the priests bearing the ark were dipped in the brink of the water, now the Jordan overflows all its banks throughout the time of harvest. The waters coming down from above stood and rose up in a heap very far away at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan. And those flowing down toward the sea of the Arabah, the salt sea, were completely cut off. And the people passed over opposite Jericho. Now the priests bearing the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firmly on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all Israel was passing over on dry ground until all the nation finished passing over the Jordan. So that's Joshua 3. Joshua 3:16 is kind of what we have here on our map. It's not to scale. The Sea of Galilee in the north. This is the Jordan River. And when the priests bearing the ark of the covenant of the Lord stepped into the Jordan, a place called Adam near Zarethan, all the waters gathered up in a heap. So then all the water, there was no water flowing down to the Salt Sea, the Dead Sea, the Arabah. No water was flowing down there. The people of Israel were able to cross into Jericho. So this is our 3:16. when the waters piled up in a heap and the people of God were able to cross over on dry land. The first time was at the, I'll say, beginning of the Exodus. This is sort of the end of the Exodus, when the Red Sea was parted, as Moses held up his staff in his hands and as Aaron held up Moses' arms. The people were able to cross the Red Sea on dry land, leaving Egypt and going into the Sinai wilderness, the Sinai desert, the Sinai Peninsula, Sinai. That was the first crossing. This is the second crossing. Because of the people's intransigence, rebellion, thinking they knew better than God or Moses, the people wandered around Sinai 40 years. And so now, Sinai is down here and here. The people ended up here. And it was time. Joshua, we have in the book, Joshua has succeeded Moses. Moses died. Moses was not able to enter into the promised land. God said no. God led Moses up on a mountain, and Moses was able to look north and south, and he could see the promised land in length. He could see as far as the Mediterranean, the sea. So he was able to see all the promised land, but he was not able to enter. We also meet Rahab. Joshua didn't know what he was getting into. And so he sent spies into the land. Some of the spies made it to Jericho. Rahab hid them because the people of Jericho heard that there were spies, and they could tell, there's a whole lot of people across the river. I want to spend a moment. The spies who scouted out the 7 nations. Canaanites, Amorites, Jebusites, Hittites, Hivites, Girgashites, Perizzites. The lost 8th nation are the Mosquitobites. I'll give you a moment. There's no 8th nation. But we hear these nations. These are the nations that were living in the promised land in various places. All of, 6 of the 7, Canaanites through Girgashites, they were descendants of Ham. Ham being one of Noah's 3 sons, right? Go back to the flood in Genesis. Noah and his wife, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and each of their wives, they were saved through the ark, saved from the flood. And from Shem, Ham, and Japheth, everybody descended. Ham dishonored Noah. There was that episode where Noah got drunk and passed out. Ham dishonored his father, and Ham was cursed. The Perizzites, we're not entirely sure where they come from, but they were lumped in with these other 6, giving us the 7 nations. This group, these groups, They had been and would be thorns in the side of the Israelites. The Israelites were kind of their own thorn in the side. But God was going to clear out the land. I wrote the way he designated himself, the Lord of all the earth. To say a couple of double negatives, or to speak with some negatives, there is nowhere where the Lord is not the Lord. He is the Lord of all the earth. So when he says he's going to do something, he is claiming his authority as the Lord of all the earth. And he would clear out the land before the people. The power of the Lord. And maybe the big thing is the power of the Ark of the Covenant. How great this vessel is. Inside were the Ten Commandments, or some of the manna. And where the ark was, that's where the Lord was. It was a special thing for the people. Eventually, it kind of turned into a lucky rabbit's foot, or a talisman. And the people would just use it and not treat it with respect and honor. And this is kind of getting into the time of King David. But the Lord went before the people. And when the priests carried the ark into the Jordan River, the river heaped up and stopped. And all the people were able to pass through into the promised land. And in another couple of chapters, that's when the people bring down the walls of Jericho by blowing the trumpets and marching around 7 times. Wonderful things. The presence of God with his people. The presence of the Lord with his people. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.